Well, hello. Welcome, everyone. I pray that you all are well and blessed. Praying for those folks in Florida. I know most of you have family there, so we're definitely keeping them lifted up during this time. But welcome to all of our regular viewers and to those who may just be dropping by. Thank you, moderators, for all of your help and support. So, welcome everyone. Hello there, Elephant Man. I pray that all is well with you. So, thank you all for joining me for tonight's session. And I also want to say before I forget that I am so appreciative of those who support this ministry, this channel. And I'm not just speaking of monetary gifts. Many of you reach out with encouraging words to let me know that you're lifting us up in prayer, and you share messages that are a blessing to me. So I really appreciate that, and I want to thank you for that. So let's get going with this. Hopefully, you had a chance to listen to the last session. We're talking about being awakened yet rejected. Awakened yet rejected. And I want to dig a little deeper regarding the many ways that we reject the descendants of Jacob and what that outcome is, because oftentimes I don't think that we really think about the outcome of that. So I want us to know that as a people, we know that we are going to be regathered. We have so many scriptures to show that, just a few of them: Deuteronomy 31 through 10, Jeremiah 30, 18 through 20, Zechariah 10, 10, and Hosea 1, 10 through 11. There are many, that we can refer to. We know that's going to happen. But what do we do in the meantime? And as I was going through some of the comments after the last session, I noticed that we had some great comments, positive comments. You all really got it. But there were a few, not many, who may have seen it as an opportunity to go in on those who don't share your views and felt a need to put folks on blast and give them a piece of your ever-loving mind. You need your ever-loving mind. So we don't want to be putting folks on blast and, giving them a piece of our mind. But in case you missed the point of the message, it was not about making folks feel comfortable about disobeying the commands of Yah. It was an opportunity for us to talk about some of these doctrinal issues without all of the condemnation. And sometimes we have a hard time discussing it because folks get in their feelings. So that was not what the session was about. It was really for us to think about what's going on with us. Here's the key point that I want to get to. Too many of us are not discerning the times. And I have a lot to cover tonight, so that's why I'm jumping right in there. We're not really discerning the times. Family, we're about to see the turmoil around us happening rapidly. As I said, we know that there will be a second Exodus. And the problem is, and I wouldn't say it's a problem so much, is that we don't know when we're going to get out of here. We don't know. If you refer to the first Exodus, our people didn't leave Israel until all 10 of those plagues were done. So we don't know when that Exodus day will be. And we can already see judgment happening all around the world for those who have eyes to see. We see how these things fit together with the prophecies. My point is we need to endure until that time. We need to be able to endure. We have to be able to stand. So, this is the point of the message, and you'll see as I get more into this. But when disasters and other destructive things happen, who gets hit hardest? Us. Our people are usually the last to receive help because we are and have been the rejected ones, the least of these. Consider that other groups may be fighting among themselves about various issues, but when calamity hits, they know how to band together and they get on code. They are on code. They say without saying, our people first. Now, a lot of people seem to have a problem when we say that. They want to accuse us of being racist and prejudiced. And I'm just going to go out there and say, yes, I am for Israel first. I don't think there's anything wrong with that because other nations have been doing it for centuries. So, yes, Israel first. But when things happen, these folks come together and they will fight. And then when something happens, they're going to band together and then they continue fighting afterwards. Think about when 9/11 happened. They didn't focus on the issues that divided them a week before. When that event happened, the nation came together. They were on one accord. And that is really what the vein of what this message is going to be about. And that's why the topic is the many ways we reject Jacob. We reject each other. So I also want you to think about when disasters happen, like Katrina. Most of you may remember what happened during Katrina. Who rushes to our rescue when we face disasters? We're considered to be in the minority here, and those who are awake, are scattered in various states. We're not all in one place like in the land of Goshen. So, as these shortages continue, these disasters, and more people feel the need to band together, and let me tell you, that's already happening behind the scenes. There are groups who are already putting plans in place to help and protect their own because they see what's coming down the pike. We are going to need each other. The reality of this is that the children of darkness hate our Father and they hate his children. They hate his children. Now, there will be some who will say, well, this fight is about the Christians who are being persecuted in these last days. I want you to think back to Mother Emanuel Church, the church shooting. Were they not all Christians? Think about the church bombings during the civil rights era. Were they not Christians when they were bombing our churches? Were they not Christians? Dylan Roof went to a Black Christian church. The shooter in upstate New York went looking for people in a Black community. He didn't care about their religion. When our people get shot down like dogs in the street, have we ever seen Christian evangelicals ever stand up and join us in the fight against us, to stand with us against police brutality? Some may have after the killing of George Floyd because a lot of them were shamed into doing it. But the ones who do it without being pressured are few and far between. So those among us who fight so hard to wear the Christian label, when these calamities increase, please understand that even though you align yourself with the evangelical community, time and time again, it has been shown that white America is not going to meet your needs, not our needs, a priority. It's just facts. And I know that's hard to hear because we get accused of being racist and prejudiced, but those are the facts. We've seen it happen time and time again, that our people are the last ones to get help. So here's the point I'm making. We're not the only race with disagreements. Other groups fight and disagree about major issues. Here's the difference. When there's a particular threat against their people, they're going to band together. They will fight afterwards. But until that threat is over, they are going to stick together. They have learned that there is strength in unity. We have yet to learn that in our current era. I believe this little clip will clarify the purpose of this message. So watch this. Give me a second to pull this up. And some of you may have seen this already, but it's worth looking at it again.
They can see already.
Yes.
They can see
But they're in the fight. They don't.
Oh, we are lucky. We are lucky. We are lucky.
We see a fight, maybe. No?
It's coming.
Fuck, they don't get it.
Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait.
God.
Wait.
Yeah. So at the end, one of them died because both of them were so busy fighting with each other. They couldn't see the danger. They could not see the enemy coming in to attack and to destroy. This has been a problem for us, and we have to be able to agree that we have some disagreements. And some of those disagreements are more serious than others. I highlighted some of them, but these tend to be the majority of our contentious issues, or the main ones, I should say. Some of them are more serious than others, but there are still points of contention. And there are many who believe that it will take the Most High Himself to resolve some of these issues. We can't take them lightly. But for those who cannot seem to disagree about certain doctrinal issues without being hateful towards others, how important will our disagreements be when our enemies show up to kill, steal, and destroy? Will we be so bent on the fight against each other that we fail to see the dangers all around us? And that's the question. That is really the point of this message. Hello there, Frugal. Good to see you, girl. All right. So, Notorious Hebrew, absolutely right. 70 AD. What were we doing? Fighting. The infighting was going on when the Romans were at the door. They couldn't see what was going on because they were so bent on fighting with each other. So there are certain things we're just not going to agree on. Queen L, 500 years of intentional destruction. We have much work to do, 100% in agreement. Yes. Chosen by, yeah, we're going to talk about some of those things. We really are, because we have to. We have to talk about it. We're not going to agree on all of these things for some. And yes, Paige, our people are stiff-necked. That's why we're in our situation. We're here because we were stiff-necked, rebellious, would not hear. So again, that's why I highlighted these things, not for us, again, to come out swinging again, going on the attack, but to have an intelligent conversation about some of the things that keep us divided. And I have a reason for putting those back up there, because you can see I have 3 lists of 5 things. And as I said, some of them are very controversial. I mean, just the name of our Abba and his son, that's a major issue, among our people. Based on the comments I saw, the multiple wives and the marriage outside of Israel were the main points for some. But let's keep going with this. I want to read this from Mark 9:38 through 40. And John, the disciple John, is speaking to Messiah, and it says, "Now John answered him, saying, 'Teacher, we saw someone who does not follow us, casting out demons in your name, and we forbade him.'" Why? Why did he stop this man? Because he does not follow us. So there was someone out there actually casting out devils, but because he was not one of the disciples, John stopped the man. So look at how Messiah responded to him. He says, "Do not forbid him, for no one who works a miracle in my name can soon afterwards speak evil of me." Not only that, listen to what he says. "For he who is not against us is on our side." John failed to recognize the good that the person was doing because he was so focused on the fact that this man was not a part of their group. So John was focused on separatism without realizing that we're able to get more accomplished with more people joining in on the fight. Are we still having trouble recognizing our true enemies, Israel? I think a lot of us do. We're not really focused on the work that has to be done. We're focused on those who believe just like us. We don't see the good that they do. I have an example that I want to share. And let me preface this by saying, since I started the channel, our brothers, our Israelite brothers, have been overwhelmingly supportive. I have to thank them for that, because most of us know that that's a contentious issue where some feel Daughters of Zion should not be teaching. And when I first started, I didn't know which way that was going to go with our men. But for the most part, I can probably count on 5 hands, on one hand, I'm sorry, not 5, on one hand, the number of men who have come out on the attack. But I did have one, it was maybe a month and a half ago. He had listened to one of the videos, didn't comment on anything that was in the video. His basic question was, "Why are you as a woman doing this?" And I only read like the first few sentences or a glance. I scanned it. And the second sentence was, "I would hate for Yah to have to kill you." And I'm like, okay, that's when you just hit delete and don't even bother reading the rest. Because I'm thinking, this isn't my first rodeo. I've been in this fight for, I want to say, about 30 years now. In my early 20s is when the Most High started dealing with me. I started teaching in various churches. As I mentioned, we're a military family, so we had to travel quite a bit. And almost every place that's what I was asked to do, to teach in some capacity, either the adults, the teens, the children, etc. Speaking for various things. I can remember one particular church we were members of. I was teaching the adults, and they asked me to speak on this particular day. Now, again, you all, this was a while ago. I'm 60, so you know. But even though I had been teaching the adults for quite a while, and at that time, at that church, president of the missionary board, when I was asked to speak, they brought the pulpit down to the floor. It couldn't be on the platform. And it's like, okay, really? So, we want you to speak. You're speaking to the entire church, but it has to be from the floor. It can't be from the platform. You know what? I kept my head down and just kept moving along with what the Most High had called me to do, because I know what this journey has been like. I cannot tell you the number of nights I spent crying out, fasting, praying. Abba, well, at the time, God, please take this gift from me if this isn't something that you've called me to do. Because back then, even more so, it was frowned upon for women to be speaking. But I just pray, please take this from me, over and over and over. And I don't know if the Most High just got to the point where it's like, okay, let's keep moving on. And during times when he wanted to speak, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd hear that gentle voice. It's like, okay, get up, you need to write this down. And I cannot tell you the number of journals I have still of things that he's spoken to me, and I just write them down, words that he's giving me. You cannot in your right mind think anyone who's, if you believe they have an anointed word, that it comes from them. How can you think that? I am not that smart, folks. Let me just tell you, I am not that smart. So I always acknowledge that I know that this is a gift. I knew it was a gift when I'd start reading, and 2 and 3 hours would go by, and it's like, I thought that was 30 minutes. 3 hours has gone by. So when I got that comment, it's like, I have no need to get into a contentious issue with this brother. I don't need to fight with him about this issue, because I know how I received this call. I know what the Most High has been doing in me and through me for almost 30 years now. But some among us, when you're attacked, you're going to, put your fists up, and we're going to duke this out. So that's why I feel we need to understand that we are not all going to agree. There are going to be those who do not agree that I should be speaking. Do I just stop what I believe the Most High has given me to do because there are people out there who feel that I should not be speaking? No, I'd rather obey him than believe someone who interpreted scripture a different way. This is what this is about. So John is not even paying attention that this man is casting out a demon. Not it in his own name, but he's saying, stop doing that. You're not with us. He who is not against us is on our side. What can we agree on? And again, this is not about condoning sin. We're not trying to condone blatant sin. But a lot of these things are doctrinal issues where one has interpreted it one way and someone else is interpreting it another way. I am at the point where I say, let the Most High confirm his own word. He is able to do that. And almost 30 years in, if he wanted to kill me, don't you think he would have done it by now, folks? Let's move on. All right. So let's look at this other scripture. And this is coming from Jeremiah 30. It says, therefore, all those who devour you shall be devoured, and all your adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. Those who plunder you shall become plunder, and all who prey upon you I will make a prey. For I will restore health to you. This is not just talking about our physical body, Israel. We are a broken and a wounded group of people. We need the balm of Gilead to heal us from the inside out. He says, I will heal you of your wounds, says the Lord, because they called you an outcast, saying, this is Zion. No one seeks her, or no one wants her. Just look at these people. Who wants them? We are all considered outcasts, the rejects of the world. We're the only people on the planet without a homeland right now. We're scattered. And yes, there may be some among us with the means to leave and settle elsewhere, but for the overwhelming majority of our people, we're going to need the Most High to deliver us from this place. We need to be delivered. Yes, Rome me says misfits of society. Basically, yes, that's how they see us. The unlovables, worthless. So that's why they find it easy to just slaughter our people in the streets. But here's the point. We're all rejects to them. So the rejected now reject each other? Listen to what I just said. The rejected now find ways to reject each other. Now, isn't that sad? That's very sad. So let's go to this next story. And most of you may be familiar with this story. This comes from 2 Kings 7, if you want to go back and read it. There were 4 leprous men. And if you know the story of leprosy, you were kept outside the camp. You were the rejects in Israel. You could not be in the company of others. And I mean, that's understandable. But they were outside. They were at the entrance of the gate, actually, when this war was about to happen with the Syrians. And they're sitting out there saying to each other, why are we sitting here until we die? If we say we will enter the city, famine is in the city. It's like, why try to go into the city? Our people are starving in there. And we shall die there if we try to go in there. But if we sit here, we're going to die also. So they said, get up, look, let's go and just turn ourselves over to the army of the Syrians. If they keep us alive, we're going to live. And if they kill us, we're going to die anyway. So they got up, it says, and then when they went to the outskirts of the Syrian camp, To their surprise, no one was there because the Most High had already fought against the Syrians for them. He had caused the army of the Syrians to hear the noise of chariots and the noise of horses. And they thought this great army was coming against them. So they said to each other, "Look, the king of Israel has hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to attack us." So they got up and they ran and they left everything in their camp. They left the tents, their horses, the donkeys, and they fled. So when these lepers came to the outskirts of the camp, they went into one tent and they just sat down and had a feast. Like, there's food, let's sit down and eat. So they ate and they drank. And then they found silver, gold, and clothing. So they gathered up some things and they went and hid them. And then they came back and entered another tent and they carried off some more stuff. But then they sat down and said to one another, "You know what? We're not doing the right thing. This isn't right. This is a day of good news." And we remain silent. They started thinking, our people are starving. We're sitting up here eating, drinking. We're finding all this stuff. They said, this isn't good what we're doing. This isn't right. So they said, if we wait until morning light, some punishment will come upon us. Now, therefore, come, let us go and tell the king's household. So they went and they told the people what had happened. And surprisingly, they found when they got there that these lepers were telling the truth. They were the heroes of the day, family. But listen to this. Here are the highlights from this story. These lepers were the outcasts of Israel. They were rejected by their own people. Even in their rejection, they didn't care about themselves only. They figured out that when I win, you win. When you win, I win. The day is fast approaching, Israel, when we are going to need our brothers and sisters, even those who do not share our views and beliefs. We are a family, whether we agree with everything and everyone or not. And please don't keep missing it. I'm not talking about coming into agreement with people who are blatantly sinning about things. You've addressed it, you had some time to talk through it, and they still refuse. They continue on in their sin. They're going to hear one way or another. So I'm not talking about those people. But let's keep going with this. Here's what we have to start looking at. When stuff hits the fan, to the point of our people being forced by their circumstances to acknowledge that something is happening, many of them will be ready to hear what we've been trying to tell them. All your kinfolk, your family members, Shanae, they still calling people that. You know, the family members we're trying to talk to, and they're giving us a deaf ear. The time is fast approaching when something's going to click in their head and they're going to say, wait a minute, something's going on. It's at that time that they are going to be ready to hear. But will we be ready to minister to these people? Because we're talking about a whole lot of people waking up. Calamity has a way of waking folks up in a hurry. Will we be ready to minister to them and point them to places, to groups, to assemblies in various areas? Or will we be caught up in our fights with each other? Will we require them to conform to certain doctrines before they can get our help? These are just things we need to start thinking about because, as I said, folks are already working. They're working underground to make sure that their own will be taken care of when stuff hits the fan. I'm just trying to tell you, we need to start thinking about the whole and not just the separate lumps because there's yeast in all of it. We're all outcasts. We all have issues. We all have issues. So Frugal says, yes, calamity will wake up folks indeed. Ask me how I know. I know, sister girl. She says, I've had calamity and it woke me up quick, fast, and in a hurry. And it's going to happen with a lot of our people. They're going to wake up fast. So will the Most High be able to use you during that hour? Will he be able to use you to the point where you can point them to another brother or sister who may be ministering in a different capacity, in a way where that person can hear and receive? Or you can direct them to an assembly in another state where they can get help. Will we be able to do that? Yolette says, calamity surely woke me up in a hurry. I keep praying. It does for my mate. The day will come. I'm telling you. Charles, I pray that we will be ready to minister. I do as well. It grieves my spirit, really. I find myself praying so much for Israel, so for our family, because again, we are not discerning the times. Some of us are too blinded with the other distractions to see what's really going on. Folks, when they start banding together, who will be the oddballs? Who are they going to look at? Other folks can blend in with other groups. We can't hide. I think you all know what I mean by that. This melanin is going to be speaking loud and clear, if you know what I mean. So just something to think about on that. Let's go on. So let's look at this. Many of us know this verse. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Most of you are familiar with this, as I say. But here's some food for thought. Notice that the first thing he says is, if they will humble themselves. There's a difference in being humbled and humbling yourself. When you are humbled, you're forced to submit, and it causes humiliation. But choosing to humble yourself is an act of your will that comes from your heart. It serves as the driving force in your response to the Most High and to others. So if this says, if my people shall humble themselves, humbling ourselves is the first step. And that's where a lot of us are missing it. That's the first step. We have to be able to pull the motes out of our own eyes. Then we can clearly see to be able to pull it out of the eyes of others. When you get to that stage, you do it with a sense of humility, not arrogance, as in, I did this, why can't you? I stopped doing this, why can't you? Because a truly humble servant of the Most High has been broken to the point where they have died to their own will. They have learned to put him and his word first, and it has already cost them something. It's going to cost you everything to lay it all down and say, not my will, Abba, but your will be done. Whatever is pleasing to you and will benefit your kingdom, I submit. That person knows what it means to be broken, and the Most High can use them to restore others because they'll do it in a spirit of meekness. Think of Moses. Moses stood in the gap even when our ancestors were attacking him, even when they didn't agree with what he was saying. Why didn't he take the Most High up on the offer to make a nation out of him? Because he wasn't just thinking about himself. He stood in the gap for our ancestors when they could have been wiped out. Could it be that the offer was also his test? But we certainly need more intercessors, those people who can stand in the gap. Even while it's being attacked, you can stand in the gap for our people and say, I'm not going to throw them away. I'm not going to give up on them because Abba Yah didn't give up on me. He did not give up on his people. So notice what has to come first: the humbling of oneself, then praying and seeking his face. Notice those things come before we turn from the wicked ways. So something has to be done in the inward parts. He says, then he will hear. So we're trying to force people into turning, and something has to happen before that. So we're getting some of these steps out of order. So just something to think about. As I said, some food for thought. So I want to look at this next one here. I am still stuck on this thing. I need to close this one here. All right. This comes from Mark 3:24. If you think about what has happened to us, everything that has happened, I don't know that we really comprehend how we were affected as a people. I don't know that we comprehend that we've all been affected in some way. We are like orphans with no protection, no covering. But I believe we're making things even more difficult for ourselves with our divisiveness. Because it takes a strong man or a strong woman to reach out and say, hey, I know we may not agree on every issue, or there's 10 issues and you and I agree on 9 of them, but we don't agree on this one issue. Let's sit down and have a conversation. You don't agree with your spouse on everything, but you keep working at the relationship, don't you? And hey, after 36 years of marriage for me, I know this to be true. There are moments of intense fellowship. But that happens in every relationship. Why do you think, or why do we think it's not going to happen in this awakening? Mark 3:24 says, if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. As I said, these other folks will fight. But at the end of the day, think 9/11, they will come together and they're going to be on code, and they know how to be on code when it comes to us. Just something for you to think about. So, no matter how much we disappointed our Father, again, just thinking about us as a whole, not separately, he loves his children. And it grieves him to see the strife. He's grieved by the divisiveness. because it's pride. If we really will think about it, a lot of it is pride. You can't force someone to think the same way that you do. If you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about. Again, I'm not talking about not calling folks out on blatant sin or speaking against sin. We should be able to do that. We're going to have those times. I want to share a story with you. I shared that we buried my sister recently, and when I went home, you know, those times when family come together and you have time to just talk, and we were, you know, just reminiscing about things, and my younger brother was saying to me that I ran a pretty tight ship. And he was saying it because even though I'm not the oldest child, I was raised as the oldest because my older brother was not living with us. So I was responsible basically for my younger brothers and sisters. And I'm going to go ahead and fess up that I got expelled many times for fighting. Yep, for fighting. And why was I fighting? I was fighting when people picked on my younger siblings. And you all, I don't know what it was. We'd be on the bus and just me hearing their voice crying or yelling because someone was hitting them. It just did something to me where I did not think. I didn't think that, hey, this kid is much bigger than me and I'm a girl. No, we're going to fight because you're messing with my brother or you're messing with my sister. I can remember my principal saying to me, young lady, I'm going to give you a personal invitation to a 3-day vacation. I was a good kid in school, as in I didn't get in trouble, talking back to teachers. I did what I was supposed to. But when it came to protecting my siblings, it's on. We're going to fight if you're messing with my brothers and sisters. Now, when we got home, and this is one of the points that my brother was talking about. Oh, yeah, if I had to get on their case, we're going to have our moments, those intense fellowship times that I'm talking about. And in the house, when mom wasn't there, I was the boss, and you're going to do what I say. They would fight amongst themselves, but where was it done? In our house. I cannot remember a single time that my siblings and I fought with each other outside of our home. Now, they may have when I moved out and moved into my own place, but while I was there, I cannot remember a single time that we fought out in public. Now, in the house, we're we were scrapping, and some of you know what I mean. But when we walk outside that door, you're not going to mess with my brother. You're not going to mess with my sister. But I knew in the house, look, you all are going to do what I say, because when mama gets home, if something's not the way she said it should be, she's going to hold me responsible. So I'm going to get on your case. But that came to my mind as I was preparing for this, that we give the enemy opportunities to come against us sometime. CC says, I used to fight also, but I fought everyone for me. Nobody was above it, boys or girls. Same here. I was fighting boys and girls. It didn't matter. And some of those folks were bigger than me. I didn't even think. It was like something just ran through me that just, I was compelled to act. I can't explain it, but it's like, no, we got to fight. Sheila said, we fought in the house, my siblings and I. Notorious Hebrew. My grandpa said, blood is thicker than mud. Now, I heard blood is thicker than water. I have not heard blood is thicker than mud, but that's good. Let's see, Denise, that's our instinct to protect your flesh and blood. Now, Denise, that leads me to my next point. I think that's something that slavery destroyed in us. That desire, that willingness to stand up and say, you come for one, you come for all of us. We might fight behind the scenes, but when you come for one of us, you come for all of us. I know there are times when my husband and I are watching TV or news or something, and they may talk about, some crime, something going on, and we give each other a knowing look like, oh God, please don't let it be one of our people. It's just something, and it's like, it just grieves. It's like, please don't let this be us that they're talking about. So Notorious says, yes, leave mine alone. Leave mine alone. We've lost that, family. The awakening, the one thing that should be drawing us together, even in that, we find ways to reject each other and make other children of the Most High feel like they're not good enough. They're not worthy. We reject you because we can't agree on one out of the 9 things. I hope you understand what the point of this message was. And as I was receiving it, I cannot tell you how many times where I just had to weep, just crying for Israel, crying for the Most High to heal us. The brokenness that causes us to lash out at each other. And I'm not talking about us being wimps and chumps, with each other, because there are times when we do have to stand up. But there are just some things that it's like, you know what? I don't even have time to get into that. Like with the brother that sent me the message, like, bro, this will be a time waster for me to get into this with you. I'm going to turn you over to Abaya and let him deal with you on this. Because you weren't there when I received my call. You don't know. You don't know what he's been working or doing in me over almost 30 years. Like, I don't even want to waste my time, getting into this issue with you. I'm going to continue praying for our people because, family, stuff is about to hit the fan. I'm going to need you. You are going to need me, because when things are really scarce, we need to know that I have a brother or a sister that I can turn to if I need some help. Some of you are in places where you're the only one. You're alone. You don't know who you should turn to. We need each other. All right, continuing. So, again, as I said, if we would just think about how much we've disappointed our Father, we cannot lose sight of the fact that he loves us even in all of the wrong that we've done to him. It grieves. We are grieving him. We're grieving Abba Yah over these issues. Let's look at this from Psalm 43:2. For thou art the God of my strength. Why dost thou cast me off? Why go I mourning because of the oppression of the enemy? We're an oppressed people. Some of our people don't know how to be what we think they should be. You may have 5-10 years of learning or experience in this walk. They're just coming into it. I've had, as I said, a lot. I try to keep things very basic because I know who I was sent to. I know who I'm assigned to. And it is for the most part, those who are just coming into the awakening. So yes, I am meeting them where they are. So I may use words that they can relate to. But for those who have been in the walk 5, 10 years, and you come to the channel, why are you saying this? This isn't the proper. It is like, I don't, yeah, let's just keep it moving. Okay. I just don't even want to get into that with you because I hear the testimonies from those who say, thanks for keeping it simple. I understand now. So maybe I wasn't sent to you. That may be the point. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying that may be what it is. But this is the point that we're missing it, that Abba Yah loves all of his children. The father loved that son that was eating slops out of the hog pen just as much as he loved the son who stayed home and seemed like he had it all together. But look at the difference. The one who left came back broken. Life's lessons made him want to serve because he knew that there was nothing better than being in the Father's house. The one who remained served, but he did it begrudgingly. Why wasn't he rejoicing to see his brother? Because he didn't see his brother as deserving. That was, he had a heart issue. So, as long as we think we're doing right and we have it all together, for those who come in broken and still wounded, we go on the attack. Why don't you say it this way? You should be saying it this way. Get it together. Because we're not looking at the long game. It's about restoration, and discipleship takes time. They may be coming to my channel to know some of those beginning things, but the Most High has other people in place where they can then glean here and then move on to others so that they learn the correct Hebrew terms. They learn these are the things that you should be doing, etc. It takes time. If it took you 5 years, why should they know it in 5 months? I hope you're hearing what I'm saying, family. I hope you're hearing me. The Most High loves his people. Don't be like that older brother of the prodigal son. Do you remember what he said to the father? This son of yours. Why not my brother has returned? My brother. He wouldn't even go in the house. What is that? What kind of spirit is that? It's sad, to tell you the truth. It's sad that you cannot rejoice that your brother has returned home after being gone for so long. You're angry because, well, the father didn't throw me a party like this. What about me? What about me? Listen to this verse from Zechariah 10:6. It says, and I will strengthen the house of Judah, and I will save the house of Joseph. Why would he do that after everything we have done? I will bring them again to place them, for I have mercy upon them, and they shall be as though I had not cast them off. It's going to be as if we had never sinned. That's what that father, that's how he embraced that son. Can you just imagine this boy is coming out of the hog pen? What did he smell like? You know? But that father was looking for him, undoubtedly praying for him. He says, for I am the Lord their God, and I will hear them. So we have to remember that we, all of us, are that prodigal son. We were the prodigals. So how dare we now act like the older brother? You know, And we cannot allow our brothers and sisters to be broken and then learn from that brokenness the same way we had to learn. They'll get their family. But if we're not going to be for us, who will? Let's fight in the house. Let's scrap in the house. If we're not going to be for us, who's going to be for us? During calamity, who will be last in receiving resources? We don't know how long we will be here before we're taken out of this place. We know that he says he's going to restore us. But when? We don't know. But do you know what we are? Beautiful messes. Even in the mess, we are a priceless people. Our value and our worth cost Messiah his life because Abba Yah was not willing to do without us. Just think about that. He was not willing to do without his children, his chosen. Look how much he paid to redeem us. So how dare we try to cast each other aside? If we meant that much to him, why don't we mean that much to each other? Why don't we? It comes with each one of us examining our own hearts, our own self, praying for each other, keeping them lifted up, even when they won't hear, keeping them lifted up. Yes, we can give them the word, but we need to pray for them to have ears to hear. Pray for the eyes of their understanding to be open. Pray for the fallow ground of their hearts to be broken up. Not get to the place where we find delight in saying, well, I can't wait until the Most High. I'm trying to remember a comment from someone, and I don't know that he said, I'll be glad when it happens, but almost to the point where I'm looking forward to those who won't hear, for them to be separated from the rest, as in so that the rest of us can move on. The Most High is not his will for any of us to perish. You need to have the Father's heart. That means you're going to keep crying out. You're going to keep fasting for Israel until the very end. Until the very end. You're not going to give up. Somebody prayed you through, whether or not you know it or not. When you couldn't hear, you thought you were right about everything. I've been there. Let me just tell you all. Woo, I had the Christianese thing going. Look, I'm just trying to tell you. When my brother tried to tell us, because he came into the awakening, I want to say maybe 12, 15 years, and he tried to tell us, oh my gosh, you all, no, I was ready to defend Christianity. No, no, I was defending it. I could not hear. I could not see. But he didn't stop loving me as his sister. He didn't throw me away as his sister. He was still in relationship with me. Do you hear what I'm saying, family? All right, so brother, I don't know what that is. You're so right, sister. I'm definitely going to share this with some people. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that. Let's look. Felicia. Yes, we must keep hope alive for our family, Israel, to hear and return. We can't give up on us. Everybody else has. We have no one else. Yes, we have our Father. Yes, we have our Father. but he's looking at how we're treating each other. Baya says, truth is liberating, isn't it? Yes, it is. Look, I was gung-ho for Christianity, child. Oh, no. No. Fee says, my family think my cousin and I are in an occult. It breaks my heart. Look, don't give up. I'm just trying to tell you. Don't look at where I am now. If my brother had given up, just think about that. So, yes, it breaks your heart. But the Most High sees every tear and he hears you. And just look at the reward that you're receiving into your account, because he sees that you're crying out and interceding like Moses did. Abraham did it for Lot. So why do we feel, okay, well, they didn't hear me after I talked to them 10 times, so the heck with them, just let them go. Just let them go. No. All right, let's see. Now, brothers and sisters, don't compromise, not even in the face of, I don't know what MR is, AMR. I'm not sure what that is. Averiel, yep, and I wouldn't have anything said about the fake ish. Yeah, it's not about compromising what we believe. It's about speaking truth. It's about speaking truth. But the Most High will give you wisdom. When you should speak, how you should speak, when you should say it. But it comes from us having a broken and contrite spirit so that he can use us, so that we're meek, so that we can speak his word, not in weakness. Meekness is what I'm saying. Meekness is a difference. There's a difference. So let's see what a few folks are saying. It's 9:06 and I don't want to keep you all long. Nika says, I needed this. I was letting others go. Don't give up on them, Nika, please. Please. Just remember my testimony, okay? Don't give up. Keep going. Charles West, responding to Calvin. Yes, we have to still love them. How you doing, Brother Calvin? Thank you for being so faithful, and other moderators. Thank you. Let's see. B. Smith, stay strong, brothers and sisters. The time of the heathen is coming. Yes, it's coming. It is. We can see it happening. I mean, we can see it. Queen L, knowing our history should cause us to have empathy, compassion, and mercy on our people. We have to keep them lifted up, fasting, praying. We have to keep them lifted up. Again, I believe as the stuff continued to ramp up, it's going to force our people to turn around and say, let me go and talk to Sister Averill. Maybe I need to find out more about what she was talking about. We're going to have to do that. We're really going to have to do that with each other, because somebody was patient. I know my great-grandmother, my mother, our family members, they prayed for their children. They prayed for their family. They didn't have it all right. Some of us are really slamming some of our Black pastors because they don't teach this. Family, maybe it's just not their time to wake up in this moment. But I know personally a lot of Black pastors who loved Abaya, they didn't compromise. They were not condoning sin. They were speaking a strong word, but they may not have all of this that we have. But I've also had testimonies of some who have been reaching out to me saying, I sent this message to our church and they're sharing it in their groups. Or I sent this, or I tried to talk to my pastor and he didn't hear me, but I sent one of your messages and he heard it, and now he's awakened. And I'm not trying to say just mine, because there are others. There are many among us who are teaching this in a way that our people are hearing and they are receiving. And you never know when it's going to be that day when they will hear and receive. For me, it was during the time of all of the police shootings when I just cried out on my bathroom floor like, God, are we cursed? Why is all of this stuff happening to our people? Why us? And that's when I came into the awakening. So we have to keep speaking to them, keep praying for them, keep sharing. Don't give up. Well, you might get 10 no's and 1 yeses, so you just never know. Thank you to all of you who have supported, who've provided gifts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There are several of you. I appreciate you, Charles West, Karen, others. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it, Felicia. I really appreciate the support, the prayers. You all, thank you. Again, we need those intercessors. If that's the part that you play, it is a big part to play. How you doing, Sister Jill? My children refuse to accept it to the point where my grandkids can't come to my house for now. My weapon of choice is prayer. Yes, you know it. You know it. We can't give up. We cannot give up. We just can't. For your grandkids, no, don't give up on those grandbabies. Y'all, I'm getting tongue-tied. Must mean I need to start wrapping up. Torah faith. Brother loved brother, and every man helped his brother, and they increased abundantly and multiplied exceedingly. 10 weeks of years, all the days of the life of Yosef. This is from Jubilees 46. Thank you so much for sharing that. It fits in beautifully with everything that I have been saying. So for those who feel, okay, you're just trying to make people feel comfortable as they continue to disobey Yah. No, not at all. Not at all. Someone asked me about the message on Sunday and the example I used of David and those who are embracing multiple wives. No, I'm definitely not embracing that. And the fact that David slept with another man's wife, he didn't die, but look at how many of his sons died. 4. If you really study out the chastisement that came to David as a result of that sin with Bathsheba, for you to think, for it to even enter your heart and mind to commit adultery, no, you are not walking in wisdom. David paid a great price. He paid a great price. And there are reports now of people in the awakening that are having affairs, messing with each other's mates. No, that cannot be. Like I said, there's a lot going on that we need to keep lifted up. Arnold, it's a spiritual battle. Prayer is the weapon and the salve. Yes. Dwayne, sis, you don't have to question your standing. The Most High is riding for you, and all who love him will receive you. And I'm not sure you're responding to me or someone else, but it's a great compliment. Thank you for sharing that. And so we're going to start wrapping things up. We're coming on 9:15. Thank you again for joining me for this session. Please, please, please keep our people lifted up, family, because it's about to get crazy. It really is. It's about to get crazy around here. And we're going to need that brother. It may not even be the one who's speaking your language, but it may be the one that Most High has put in place to help you. You don't know who he's going to send to help you in these last days. So be careful. Be careful how you treat people. You don't know where your help's going to come from. You want to be very careful. All right. Again, family, thanks for all of your support. Thank you, moderators. I love you all. I appreciate you so much. I'm so appreciative of the comments, the support, the words of encouragement, the prayers. For those of you who just reach out sometimes and all you say, I'm praying for you, sis. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, family, we're going to end it here. Shalom, everyone.